So we'll get these out of the way right away, which is Dragon Ball Super. I'm still watching. Jeff hasn't been watching.
I watched the only parts of it I cared to watch, which are the last 10 episodes.
Yep. And so I'm still watching the English. So I'm pretty caught up. I think I'm off by like 2 episodes. It's been Dragon Ball Super. It hasn't been what I planned for it to be. First half so far has just been kind of stuff I didn't care to see, or stuff that was just, ripping off. I shouldn't say ripping off. Just kind of reiterating what was done in the movies, so it was kind of disappointing. There have been a couple events that were original, but it was just kind of underwhelming, or just really shitty jokes.
It feels very fan servicey to me.
Yeah.
Except for to Vegeta, which he kind of is made a fool a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, he's not who he was first established as, let's put it that way. And yeah, we have some tournament arcs and other things, there's just, I'm not going to get into it, but there's just certain stories where it's like there's huge loopholes and other things that don't make sense, but I won't get into it. That's another day.
Yay, time travel.
Ooh. Then the next one we're still watching is Hunter x Hunter, still in the Chimera Ant arc. It's one of the bigger arcs, and yeah, still going strong. Yep.
The English just passed episodes, I think episode 101. So we are further along than from the start. I get why people talk about the Chimera Ant arc as the best arc in Shonen ever.
I wouldn't say ever. But...
Well, lots of people feel that way.
Yeah, well, I'm sure they do.
I really, thus far, I still really miss Hisoka. The entire time, I'm like,
that's the whole time. I'm like, where are the spiders?
I had more fun with Hisoka.
The spiders get 2 episodes, and I'm like, boo.
Yeah, boo. And I'm not even sure if that was filler or not. It felt kind of like it came out of nowhere.
I love the spiders. I want more of them.
You'd have just an offshoot anime that's just about the spiders.
Oh, I would really love it. I haven't watched any of the movies, so who knows? Maybe it's in one of them, but I doubt it. I know there's one about Hisoka.
I get why I get why this arc is talked about by the community a lot.
Yeah, it's obvious. Good. It's obvious, yeah. So, I don't think we need to get into that. 2 pretty well-known things going on. So let's get into the ongoing that's still not finished. And, let's get into it. I guess our first one would be Black Clover.
You've warmed up to it a little bit.
Okay, here's the thing. At first, I hated it. And then I warmed up a bit to it. Then I was intrigued by it. And then the last few episodes, has just been, I was kind of PO'd a little bit. Just because the last few episodes, the art has really suffered. I don't know what happened. If their, A-team was just sick or what happened. I could show you stills from the last 2 episodes, and it's like, what the fuck?
I wonder if, the best team kind of switches between Boruto and Black Clover to kind of keep both of them
somewhat level, yeah.
Yeah, because there was a time where Boruto felt obviously better, and then there was a time where Black Clover felt obviously better.
Yeah.
Maybe now it's, switching back to Boruto a little bit. I don't know. Because, of course, I'm not really watching either of them.
I'll get into Boruto in a few minutes, but Black Clover, it has... it's had some good points, I'll say that about it. I like the fact that it's gotten better, obviously. I like the fact that Jeff hasn't watched as far as I have, and I won't spoil anything, but there have been some, decent fights. There have been some decent villains. We've had kind of our protagonists kind of introduced. We've had kind of, can I say, background stories kind of starting to leak out more for some of our characters. And we've already had somebody who's a traitor, and we have that kind of winged out, and so I won't say any more.
It sounds to me from outside looking in, the way you describe it, it seems like they do a very good job of having varied power sets and showing that different people, even if they have a power set that you're like, well, I don't get what would be great about this, they actually show it off really well.
Yeah.
Hunter x Hunter does the same thing where you're like, whoa, that's really unique.
But Hunter x Hunter, I could always see the benefit of having that ability, you know what I mean? Whereas sometimes with Black Clover, I'm like, why would that ever be, good? And then I'll be like, okay, well, I can see now, but some of them are a little bit of a stretch. Some of them are like easy, powers like electricity, Other ones are very different in the sense of like art. Like one of them uses a palette and a brush and, paints people into like canvases sort of thing. And Jeff hasn't been introduced to that character yet, so he looks confused.
It reminded me of Naruto.
Yeah, Naruto. Good old days. So anyways, Black Clover has been getting better in the sense of content. Last couple episodes, the animation's really suffered. I don't really know why. I'm hoping it continues on because we've kind of been getting more character development. We've been getting more, world building, sorry. So I feel like it could be on a steady pace of just being okay. You know what I mean?
Swimming in sevens.
Well, it's about, we'll see. It kind of waxes and wanes where I place it every time. But I guess the next one would be Boruto, which...
peaks and valleys, it sounds
not even peaks and valleys. It's like consistently the same, which sounds good on one hand. On the other hand, it sounds bad because there have been like 3 or 4 standout episodes I can think of right now where I'm like, that was really cool.
But don't they all involve the parent characters?
There's one section that doesn't.
Okay.
Actually 2. But the other 2 are with parents. So that's about half and half of cool things. But, especially the last couple episodes have been better because it's been getting more into, some...
More serious stuff?
More serious stuff, yeah. But at the same token, I've noticed, and I can't help not noticing, Boruto just doesn't take a lot of chances with fighting anymore. Like, anytime there's a big opportunity to be like, this is the moment where they're gonna kick ass like before, it cuts away. And it's just like, oh, well, don't worry. They're fighting so-and-so. We're safe here. And I'm like, go back! Go back! I want to see that. I don't care about this conversation as much. Go back.
Again, because I'm not watching it, like, do they use that as an opportunity to show, like, our parents lived through war. This is different, and they're like, we don't want you to ever have to deal with war. We'll deal with it. We've had to live through it before.
Well,
does that become like part of the narrative?
Yes and no, because like the parents, like Naruto and them, say obviously we don't want war to happen anymore, but you need to be trained in case something does happen. And so there are there are kids who don't want to be ninjas and other ones that do. And obviously we go through the exams still and so forth, but you get to see that it's what parents want versus what kids want to an extent, but also the Kages understand that even though like this is a much, I guess it's the way people look at us, so it's like, oh, the millennials, whereas it's like they're softer, they won't have to deal with what we had to, but some of the other Kages are like, we have to get them prepared because we didn't think anything bad could happen, and then shit hit the fan, like, so we have to get them ready. And so some of them are like just gung-ho where it's like, I want to do this. This is all I wanted to do. And other ones are just like, I don't care. Like, that's an old man's job, is being like the warrior. I just want to be like the dude who supports, And like, not to give anything away because it doesn't. We find out early. Like Sasuke's daughter, Sarada, wants to be Hokage. And Naruto's son, Boruto, wants to kind of be the Sasuke role in the sense of just supporting her. He has no aspirations to be Hokage whatsoever. Yeah. And, and I like it just because it gives me Naruto vibes in the sense of art. I feel like the whole time animation hasn't suffered. Whereas Black Clover has. In that sense, it hasn't suffered. We've had some decent stories, but I feel like it's playing it very safe. Very, very safe. And only the last few episodes where they've kind of rolled the dice and be like, okay, let's kind of amp up the stakes a little bit and get some, like, baddies in here and see what happens. But based on what I've read in the manga, I know how it's going to wrap up, which I feel is going to be unsatisfying. So that's what I can say. It's like a kid who does average in school. You always know you can rely on them to be average, and it's that you just rely on it. And that's kind of what Boruto has become. I miss so badly the fights from Naruto. Like, they have, stellar moments where they can take advantage of this. And they're like, we don't want to fuck it up. Let's just not. It's like, you shouldn't think that way. Just go for it. Like, there was one scene where I was like, oh yeah, they're gonna tear ass, and it just cuts away, and I was like, no. Like there have been.
This would have been 7 episodes in Naruto.
Yeah, they would have milked that for all it's worth. But no, they do show fighting and stuff. Don't get me wrong, they do. They show some hand-to-hand combat and showing their abilities and using chakra and all that stuff still. But it's the pain fight versus hand-to-hand combat. You can't compare. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I want that old Naruto back in the sense of seeing some bitching fights again. That's what I live for in Naruto. Is just waiting for that moment of the escalation to hit this peak of there's nowhere to go but to kick each other's ass. This is it.
Or if you're not gonna have that escalation of powers and we're destroying half the country.
Not in the sense of powers, but even in the sense of
the final fight that you see in Naruto, it's literally just 2 people pounding each other.
Yeah.
They cut away the music. It's just
raw.
hard-hitting, raw, I'm going to punch you until you stop.
That's the
and
thing.
the other person's I'm going to punch you until you stop.
That's the thing. It's we've got this moment where it's everything's led up to this. Let's do it. Whereas in Boruto, you just feel some of them are okay, this is our moment. Maybe not. Let's just hold off. There could be a higher climax here. Let's just wait.
Yeah.
I'm come on, let's kick some ass. And don't get me wrong, like I said, there are some scenes where people get their asses kicked, and I'm sweet. But it doesn't last long enough. It doesn't hit that moment long enough. You know what I mean? Whereas,
have you had anything in Boruto thus far? Because, you've watched probably 30
I've watched
more
all of it.
episodes than I have.
Yeah.
That even comes close to Zabuza versus Kakashi.
In the sense of emotional gravity, no.
Okay.
In the sense,
because
no.
that happens pretty damn early in
I think
the Naruto
episode 18
anime. So by the time we hit let's say 20, even 25 episodes, we had already had Kakashi versus Zabuza and
it ripped your heart out.
The 3 kids against Haku and
ripped my heart out.
And it wasn't afraid to just be this is what this world is.
Yeah.
Deal with it.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, the kids have had moments where they've had to stand up for themselves and fought some baddies, but nothing to the grandeur of Zabuza or somebody this is important, you'll see them again. It's just kind of these are bandits, go fuck them up. You know what I mean? It's kind of here's your assignment, go do it. There's only been a couple situations where the kids were in serious peril, but then again the parents stepped in and it's I can fuck them up, stand back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is cool to see because you're yeah, nostalgia. But again, it's one of those moments where it lasts at tops 15 to 30 seconds. I'm no.
I want to see our protagonist be. Oh, Naruto, you're gonna step in. Well, okay.
Yeah, it's just kick some ass, and I was just oh. It makes me sound I'm just a rage-aholic here. But it's seriously, that's Naruto.
That's part of the joy of Naruto.
That was the whole thing where it's I got so amped up when I saw Deidara with Sasuke, and I was yes! Yes! And I was when I first saw it, I was
it doesn't sound like they've done a good job of building up any group, something to... an antagonist that is really something that you
They've established now can I say a major antagonist in the sense, I don't want to say who or what, because
they're a threat of some kind.
Yeah, I won't say who. But long story short, it's kind of these are the baddies that'll likely be around a couple times or for at least a while because I'm not gonna say. But so I feel it's been average. I just feel you're trying to push a student to reach their potential because they can. You've seen their work, and they're just not hitting it.
So, better than Super, but not as good as, 7 Deadly Sins.
Definitely not as good as 7 Deadly Sins. Super...
Super maybe has the opposite, where, you just don't care about anything, but at least you get a good...
I was about to say, the whole time is just it's not even necessarily good combat. It's just the fact of just shit's happening, you know what I mean? Where it's like, it's very few times, like, yes, they have several parties, and it's like, oh my god, I don't care. But shortly thereafter, it's like, Kamehameha. Like, I was like, yeah, just rip up shit. That's what it's amounted to now. It's just like, just rip up shit. It's just like, you can't die. You have Sensubi. Just go kill each other, sort of thing. And it's just like, that's what it is. It's a spectacle where it's, Boruto isn't on, all the time like that. It's kind of, it picks its moments. But I feel like it is more substantial than Dragon Ball Super. It is trying to do something. Whereas Dragon Ball Super is just like, sure, you want a tournament arc? Fucking have it. Do you want to see these people fighting? Sure. Do you want to see them go back in time? Sure. Do you want to see like this? Sure. And it's just like, you shouldn't be like a complacent parent and let your kids get what they want. Like, have some boundaries. Like, make an example for yourself and then, give them something. It just feels like that's what you want. Here it is in a package. It's like, don't do that. This just feels like you've given up. Like, don't do that.
Especially when you have other things that are playing that do this genre way better. But if we're going alphabetical, I'd be jumping the gun a bit.
So then the next one would be Kakuriyo. No Yadomeshi, I believe it's the full name. And it's what we said before. It's Konohana Kitan had babies with Inuyasha. And it's kind of just a in with yokai and things happening, either good or bad, and it's just kind of a mostly chill event. It's about a girl who cooks and...
Yeah, it's enjoyable.
It's alright.
You're never going to go away from an episode being like, wow,
that was amazing.
But you're also never going to watch and just be like,
that
oh
was
god.
Shitty, yeah.
It's just more like,
that
left me with a smile on my face.
It's just like, yeah, it's okay.
I like that character. They're cool. I like that there was an episode about them.
Yeah. Like, that's nice.
And I mean, it has a dub, so I mean...
it's the first line I get it up.
I probably liked Konohana Kitan a little bit better, but Konohana Kitan was very episodic, whereas this has an ongoing narrative, which I kind of appreciate.
Well, and it's also much very, like, fan service. In a lot of places.
Konohana Kitan has got a little bit more, for sure.
I can't think of a moment in Kakuriyo where there's naked people ever.
No, and that's fine. But I feel like Konohana Kitan made me laugh more, but what happened was just kind of like, it's a one-off episode, and if you would have taken that away from the series, like let's say, and I wouldn't have even noticed.
Yeah.
Whereas here having an ongoing narrative is kind of nice, and there's this whole idea of, she's in another realm, and her grandfather is like well known to everybody.
Yeah,
the king and queen know him. Like, wait, what?
Long story short, if you haven't listened to the podcast or you don't know anything about it, long story short, a girl lives with her grandfather. The grandfather happens to pass away. After passing away, she finds out that he kind of liked to gamble, and that as the collateral was her marrying one of the yokai, and an ogre, who's part of the yokai realm. And she decides she doesn't want to get married, and she wants to work in the restaurant there instead and pay off the debt. And they give her a timeline, and that's kind of how the show rolls.
Yep.
And it's very, chill, cool, calm.
It has some slightly more serious elements to it at times, because it has an ongoing narrative.
Yeah.
And, she's... everybody kind of knows her because everybody knew her grandfather, and so it's like, it's a spirit. That particular bit reminds me of Natsume in the sense that like they feel her presence and they're like drawn to her just like they are with Natsume, because Natsume has that blood in him too. So you know what I mean.
Sorry.
But Sugar has a very her imagination is very photogenic, so right there she probably just saw a person with like somebody else's blood coursing through their veins. But I meant it in a different way. But it's one of those things where, she has to kind of...
So sorry.
Sugar's having a good time.
Let's calm myself down.
But yeah, so she has to kind of deal with the fallout of essentially being very, very famous and infamous, despite her
being plain.
Yeah, not plain. She's a fairly good cook.
Well, I mean plain in the sense that she has no special abilities other than being able to cook, but it's kind of her ability to cook is based on the fact that yokai like real people food.
Yeah.
It's not even so much that she's an expert.
And there's little hints of some sort of political hierarchies and the demon the ogre demon that she's supposed to marry is pretty high up, but then the king and queen get introduced and everybody's like, oh my god, I can't believe they want to be here and eat here, this is a big deal, and she's just like, I don't know, I'm just making food, what the hell. So I mean, the anime is the very definition, I say it a lot, swimming in sevens. It's never going to be better than a 7, but it's never going to be worse than a 7, you know? There hasn't been a particular moment where I've been like, wow, this is awesome, but I've never watched and been like, God, I want this to end.
No.
It's always been like,
it's just
I want to see the story to its conclusion. You know? I want to see what happens. I am invested in the characters.
I don't know, that tickled my funny bone. Anywho, pretty chill. Give it a watch if you like that fantasy yokai, Konohana Kitan vibes, Inuyasha vibes. A little bit of fighting, but not so much. You'll see. Give it a watch. Okay, so next one we have Layton Mysteries with Katrielle. If you haven't listened to our other podcasts, it is basically kind of a Scooby-Doo in a sense of there's a mystery, it gives the audience a chance to solve it, and kind of gives you the conclusion, and it's missing the greatest part, which is Professor Layton. And
Katrielle is such a stereotype.
She's such a stereotype. It's I like cookies and baked goods and shopping, and I'm just a bitch.
I don't know about that portion, but she's definitely her best friend there definitely has a crush on her, and she is either she either has no idea
she has no idea,
blind to it, or she's just like, well, okay, you like me, I don't like you, we're best friends, deal with it. But
she's a bag.
Now I think we're pretty much close to dropping it, because the last episode we watched, there was no way that you could actually have guessed what was going to happen, because it assumed that you would assume that somebody had literally unlimited resources.
Yeah, in the sense of money, staff, just everything.
He hired people to live in a fake London for 10 years.
Which nobody knew existed.
And the thing is, if this is somebody's first introduction into anything Layton, this is so not what the games are like. This is so not what Professor Layton as a character is
like. The last game, it's because that's her game. But other than that, the other games are not.
But the Professor Layton games, as opposed to Katrielle, because those were heartfelt. There is an anime movie that features Professor Layton, and that was wonderful. And it had these mysteries that were in there that legitimately made sense, and that the way that you solve them made sense, and it just showcases what this could have been. And instead, it's aimed at kids. It is ridiculous.
I love that it's aimed at kids and makes it almost impossible to solve some of them. It's
and then some of them, it's oh yeah, they're just seeing things because they're high on the stuff that
drugs.
Clothes are made out of. Okay, this is for kids. Now, yes, kids in Japan, for Japanese television, do get to see things that are a little bit different than North America.
Yeah.
That are a little bit more, more serious and whatnot. But this just, I don't know. We watched it for a little while, and then as soon as this season started, where we had so many other things, we haven't really watched it since, and I don't think we care to.
Yeah, no.
It's just...
I don't know. I'll see, but it's really... Based on what we've seen, I just don't care that much. Especially when it screws me over in the sense of guessing. It's no longer a game if it just you feel cheated.
Yeah, and you don't have any of the good bits about Herschel.
I love Herschel so much.
Yeah.
He is the gentleman Sherlock Holmes.
So yes, go watch The Eternal Diva and see what Herschel Layton is like.
Yes.
And then you'll see why, when we first heard, wait, there's going to be a Layton anime, and then it was like, oh, it's going to be about Katri, and we were
I was like, ugh.
That's a kidney punch.
Yeah, Jeff didn't play the game. I have. It's not great.
You know.
That's what I can say about it. I did not like it very much.
The game, not great. The anime,
not great.
So that we might have just decided now that maybe it goes to the dropped list. I don't know.
Yeah, upon reflection.
There's too many good anime to watch that. Especially since I already forced you to watch Clear Card Hand.
I feel like this wouldn't be as painful.
That's because you have absolutely no desire for it to, like, you don't have any hope for it being better. This is the one that steadily gets like an F, whereas with Card Captors it was like, wow, this had like an A. Oh, now it's went down to a D-. What happened? What drugs are you taking now, kid?
What drugs are you taking now? What do you mean?
Oh, just it's a student that had like high grades and then all of a sudden just hit rock bottom and they're like failing out. You're like, oh, what happened? You used to be so good.
The show Card Captor sucked. This was.
I was gonna say now we get to go to something that is actually good.
Yes, really, really great anime, My Hero Academia. It
makes Sugar cry.
It makes me cry, especially this last few weeks.
This last arc, yeah.
I cried in the manga, and Jeff didn't. I said, I swear to God, once it's put into animation, you'll cry, and sure enough, he did.
Yeah, I had a few tears. It was done exceptionally well. They've always done
so good.
They've always done they do the emotional bits just as well as Naruto did.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that I give Naruto over almost any other shonen anime is that
it kills.
Those emotional moments, they sucker punch you and it's just like, oh, this hurts my soul.
And I was thinking of doing the video, and I say this all the time, but it's true. I was thinking of doing the video of going into that more in depth, and then I saw Gegege put out the video. I was like, there's no point. He said exactly, a little misleadingly in the beginning, because I was like, what the hell is he doing?
Well, that was clickbait, obviously.
Yeah, obviously. And
you were mad when I saw that it was up, but I was like, oh, sugar. Guess what Gegege's new video is titled? And you were like, no.
Literally for a moment, I thought, I was like, no, he didn't buy into the fact that it, people are saying, oh, it's garbage, oh, blah, 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 blah. I was like, not him. I was like, he usually sees, what I see in the sense of quality. Not to, float my ego or anything, but I feel like we're on a lot of the same page about things.
Yeah.
Without having met him. But anywho, if you haven't seen it, not to promote someone else's video, he talks about,
You can promote his other video. If you want to hear why My Hero Academia is amazing, Gegege has a video that he put out recently that's all about that.
Yeah, and so long story short, My Hero Academia does really amazing animation, really amazing moments, and, like you pointed out, kind of TLDR, the fighting isn't about fighting, it's about getting a point across. It's about solidifying a situation. It's about pointing out the underlying tone. Yeah. And that's what it's always been, and that's why it always hit me hard. And that's why I loved it so much, is because I could feel that reading the manga before it even reached animation, where it's like, I can tell that's what it's trying to do. And it's really, really, really good.
See, and it's counter to something like, I would say later Dragon Ball Z and Hunter x Hunter to an extent does this too, where the big thing with it is the battle. It is the fight. Whereas with My Hero Academia, it's a character study, and the fighting is the dramatic center point of this character study. Mm-hmm. And not that either one is inherently better or worse than the other. Mm-hmm. It's just that My Hero Academia does, their battles are usually quite quick. They are, especially when it comes to All Might, he's almost essentially just I'm just going to punch you harder than you can take. because I'm All Might. But it isn't like, and so Gegege talks about, he's like, there isn't anything about this that's like, wow, I can't believe he used this technique.
Yeah.
I can't believe that he outthought this person. Where something like in Hunter x Hunter, where there's a lot of different things going on in terms of strategy, that's what it ends up being about, is the strategy of, like, you know, coming to... My Hero Academia is about the story, first and foremost, and just that conflict happens.
Yeah.
There wasn't anything, if you're going to talk, like, let's say, the Stain arc, that encounter, there wasn't anything about it where I was like, wow, this choreography is amazing. I can't believe he used his ability in this way. That's super unique. Instead, it was more about the tension, about the conflict of ideologies and principles, and, like, you know, that drama that it brings out. And My Hero Academia does it amazingly well. Like, Naruto kind of has a mix of the two, but I feel like Naruto's better when it kind of weighs on the emotional side, as opposed to it just being like, I have this technique. Aha! I have this technique. This technique will beat this technique. You know, like, there was... Naruto sometimes won a battle because he farted in someone's face. Like, you know? Not that anything like that happens in My Hero Academia.
I was about to say,
but,
not even close.
No. But, and they do have, like, super cool, unique powers and everything like that. It is the best shonen airing right now. By, I would say, quite a wide stretch.
Yeah.
It is close to hitting levels of, like, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood and other shonen that you point to and you're like, that's the greatest shonen ever.
Yeah.
You know, it's closing in on that sort of thing.
Yeah. It's one of those
I
things
would say
that
Sugar probably would say maybe it is the best shonen now. After, like, it has like 50 some odd episodes.
I was about to say, I
now.
don't want to count my ducks, but it's up there. It's really, really good. It's one of those times in your life where you sit there and you're like, this will be in our lifetime one of the good ones that will stand the test of time. And I feel that. I've read the manga up until this moment. I think maybe I missed the last chapter, but really everything else.
Yeah.
And it doesn't waver. No. It's
Quality
still...
has always been excellent.
It's so good. Like, if you haven't been reading it, you guys and gals, like, go read it. Like, it's so good.
Or just allow the anime to be your
or
focal
be me,
point.
be like totally invested to the point where you can't wait and then just read all of it.
Or you'd be like me, and your significant other basically is like, I really need to talk to you about this. Read it. And then I did, and, like, now I'm one chapter ahead of Sugar because
I'm now the pusher.
But and that's the thing, is that if you look at MAL ratings, every single season is above, like, an 8.5, I think. Like, it's just constantly been great.
Great.
And getting
perfect.
better.
Not perfect, but it's been great.
And I don't think there has been a lull. I don't think there has been an arc that has been poor.
Nope.
I don't think that there has been a villain that's been done poorly.
Nope.
I can't point to anything. I can point to some specific characters where I feel like, boy, they haven't really done anything with them yet, or why do they exist in this? And if you read the manga, the mangaka basically just will tell you, like, oh, I created this character because I think they're pretty neat. And if you look
I love this thing with Shigaraki. It's like, I like drawing hands.
Yeah. And, like, I'm thinking, like, and lots of people bring it up, like, a character like Mineta, like, why? And he pretty much flat out just says, he's like, I wanted to create a character like this because...
Not everyone's pure.
Yeah, not everyone's pure. Not everyone's going to do it for all the right reasons. And
he said himself that he, in himself, younger and even to this day, he thinks of himself as a little bit, you know, not pervy, but you know what I mean?
He appreciates the aesthetic beauty of women.
Yeah.
And so it does hit that. But I mean, any single... You look at even, like, superheroes in general, you have these superheroes that are, like, C heroes. They exist. They are in DC and Marvel and they're not really featured. They're not the big crime fighters. They're not part of the Justice League or the Avengers, but they're still around, and that would reflect what this society would be like.
Yeah.
I still don't know what Mineta did to get into Class 1A, but who knows? Maybe that'll come up sometime.
Well, it was brought up a bit, but I won't get into it in case I'm thinking it's from the manga. But, anywho, you know what it is. If you don't know what it is, get on it, Mr. and Mrs. You know you want to watch it. It's very, 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 very good.
And I get it when something is hyped up. Like, Hunter x Hunter was hyped up to the friggin' moon for us. And so it was a little bit disappointing at times.
Yeah.
If you're not a shonen fan, if you're not a superhero fan, this isn't going to be the best shonen you've ever seen. It just won't be, because you're not into that sort of thing.
Yeah.
If you're into superheroes, and if you're into comics, if you're into shonen type stuff, this is taking all of those elements, putting them together, and sharpening it to a fine point. And being like,
incredibly fine point.
This is going to be the ideal version of this.
Yeah. Exactly. Next one, Persona 5. We've been kind of lagging a bit on this one because we played the video game, so we know what's going to happen. Again, we'll say it really... I don't think we need to go too extensively into it. It's just rather fast-paced. It might be hard for somebody who hasn't played the game because it doesn't necessarily take your hand and say, oh, this is what this is. It does give you a few moments where it goes further into it so you get what's happening, but I find even some of them are like hard for you to get for certain things.
Yeah.
Let's be put it that way without saying anything. Yeah.
I mean, the anime as an interpretation of a 150-hour video game is always going to be cutting corners. It's always going to tell like a synopsis of that story, and that's what it's designed for. Yeah. But you're going to have problems with that, especially with Persona 5 is one of the best video games I've played in the past 5 years. It is very in-depth. It can be as in-depth as you want it to be with dozens of characters. Yeah. And you're just not going to get that experience from the anime. Right. So they had to, as an adaptation, they have to decide, like, what is it that we're going to focus on? Right. And in the first few episodes, they didn't emphasize so much on, like, understanding what the palaces are and things like that, as much as, like, throwing you into the deep end so that you are just as confused as your characters are. Whereas they took their time with the video game, because you have all the time in the world to do that. The anime...
Literally, you had time to, like, work at a cafe.
Yeah. And so, it's good as an adaptation, but...
It's not good as an adaptation. Like, I feel like a lot of the soul is missing out of it because of so many cut corners. I feel like they should have picked the best of the stories, made it into a more concise battle, and then, had the conclusion from it. Rather than palace, go out, palace, go out, palace, go out. You know what I mean?
I don't know if you can turn those battles into something that would be really interesting to watch. Since as inherently it's a turn-based battle engine. So
or else have it longer, have another season or something, because it just feels too condensed. To me. It's not bad, it just feels really condensed.
I will say I love the look of it.
Well, yeah, of course. It looks like the video game.
The soundtrack is great. The voice acting is really well done. It's just, I think you're coming at it from the fact of, like, I've seen how great this can be. This isn't it. And I'm like, yeah. And that's, Persona 3 and Persona 4 have both had animes, and they've both had the same problems.
That's what I've been told. I haven't watched any of the other Personas, so I don't know.
It's just, you can't condense 150 hours of content and feel like you get it all.
I mean, they shouldn't try and give you the whole game then. Just give, like, a couple stories of how we get our main characters together, and that kind of gives you the idea of what they do and everything else. They don't need these side stories and other people they save. Just do what needs to be done. Because I feel like as soon as you start hitting all these random battles that aren't amounting to anything other than a point, it's wasting time. But that's just me. It's not bad. It's just very condensed for my liking. But yeah, soundtrack, great. Voices, good. Animation, great. Can't go wrong. Other than the condensed.
And I mean, if you don't own a PS3 or a PS4, you don't have the ability to experience this story as it should be experienced, then like it's okay. It's the same thing with people like as great as the Lord of the Rings movies are. If you want everything, you read the book.
Yeah, but even Steins Gate pulled it off,
yeah.
So let's not say there's no good adaptation.
No, there are good adaptations, but there's always stuff left on the cutting room floor.
Yeah.
Here, it's just more stuff left on the cutting room floor.
So that kind of leads into our next one, which is Steins Gate 0, which is amazing.
It is. I found it interesting that people were a little hesitant when they heard about it, because they were like...
Being the darkest timeline.
Well, not even that. Like, that's actually pretty interesting, but it's more like...
Not when you know what it means.
How do you...
Make something great even better.
Like, yeah, because I'll be one of those people who will say Steins Gate is one of the top 5 greatest animes ever made.
Yep.
So, how do you do that? How do you make a sequel to something that is that highly lauded, and that's not just my opinion.
No.
The original Steins Gate, I'm pretty sure, is in like the top 20
yes.
on MAL.
Yes.
I honestly feel like the only people who crap on it are just people who can't wrap their head around what's going on, or trolls.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's not, no anime is for everyone, so if it didn't, catch you, that's fine, but...
There's a difference between not liking it and not finding it good.
It had to be so daunting, and I'm glad, it seems like they have all the same original people who were involved, so they were like, well, okay, we did it before, we can do this again, and so far they have.
Yeah.
It's wonderfully acted. We've been watching the dub, because that's what we watch Steins Gate with. So we're watching Steins Gate 0 with the dub.
Yep.
There's
a voice or two, I think, that were changed, but I can't be certain.
There's one, either that, or they're performed in a different way to reflect that the characters are slightly different, because it's a different story, because it's a different timeline.
I think when I looked at the voice acting, they were the same, but it sounds different for some reason. But
yeah, that could have been just a decision made by the actors themselves.
Who knows?
Yeah, at this point, if you're listening to this podcast, you already know how highly we value Steins Gate. Mm-hmm. And so far, Steins Gate 0 has met our expectations on that front.
Incredibly. Great animation, great story, great everything. I didn't know how they could up the first season, and they've kind of met it.
They've happily. Met it. I couldn't tell you right now that, this is, better.
Yeah, we don't know if it'll succeed. But,
yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
We'll go beyond. We don't know if it'll be better than the first season, but we know it's keeping pace with it at least.
Yeah. The new kind of character they add in, I feel like really does add a lot to it. I enjoy her a lot, and the way that she is integrated into the story.
You're talking about our main new character, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I say. We have a few new characters. So
the main one, who's basically, she's kind of adorable.
Yeah.
But also, you feel almost kind of bad for her in a way.
Yeah. We won't get into why, but you'll see.
And so that's great. You always kind of worry about adding in a new character into this, this ensemble that has already worked so well together already. They're very good at dropping little bits to remind you of stuff, because we didn't watch Steins Gate immediately before we started 0. At least I didn't. It had been a couple of years probably since I last watched it, and so the little things that they mention as they go on jog your memory of oh yeah.
It's gotten into the whole me with crime and murder mysteries. I've already called a bunch of stuff that's going to happen. I'm I bet any money these things will happen, and Jeff's you never know, and I'm I'm confident based on the hints they're dropping. I'm I'm confident. I haven't seen what it's based on, so I can't say that I've cheated. This is just based solely on where I think that'll go.
Yeah.
But I'm excited for that. I'm excited for thriller and suspense and sci-fi and everything else. It's great.
Yeah. If you had any reservations about how are they going to do it, they're doing it. It's wonderful.
It's happening. So now, for the dropped list, because who wasn't waiting for that the whole time?
Yeah, there's a lot.
Let's dig in. First one, Beatless. It was garbage.
I didn't even watch it.
Yeah, Jeff didn't watch it. I watched, I think, the first 2 episodes. It was just crap. That's the best I can tell you. They tried going for, I don't know even what to tell you, kind of sci-fi, sort of slice of life, sort of just crap. It was crap. Skip it. Next one. Jeff's favorite, Dances with Dragons.
You know, if it didn't feel like I had to have like a weird compendium of all these terms and all of this lore that I could just look at when they're talking about stuff, then I'd have been like, that sounds like an interesting premise, if nothing else. I'm not sure if it's magic. I'm not sure if it's science. I'm not sure if the church is good or bad or fake or real. I'm not sure if our protagonists are part of a good organization or a bad organization. I'm not sure if them killing the dragons is like somebody going to like kill a bunch of rhinoceros because they're like, I don't like them.
Is it good? Is it bad? Are they rare?
I don't know. And from the looks
hard,
of it,
hard plot dump.
Oh yeah, it was. I was intrigued by the idea behind it, and then it was like, oh god, no, please make it stop.
Oh god.
And then it sounds like the MAL rating for it is poor.
Good. It was garbo.
Garbage.
Everything was garbo. The story, the plot dumping, the characters. It was just a gong show of crap. Yeah, best way to put it.
A gong show of crap.
A gong show of crap. Quote me on that. Put it on a shirt. Next one, Dorei-ku the Animation. That was, the best word for it is the a bit edgy show about people wearing, I don't want to say braces, dental kind of dams. In this, that's not the right word.
Dental implants.
Yeah. Sorry, my mind. Oh, okay, so dental devices. Basically where you can make somebody else your slave. And it right away escalated into utter edginess, and then it just kind of devolved into crap. So I wouldn't say it's worth your while. Initially it seemed like a cool idea, but then it just became a gross idea. And I think that's all that needs to be said.
Mm-hmm.
Next one would be, let's take a look, see.
Because Gegege.
Oh, we just call it Gegege, so we'll say that's next alphabetically. Kitarou no Gegege. Basically, we dropped it not because it was bad, just because I'd seen decades earlier one of the seasons, and I know the season will likely last a long time, or longer, let's say that. And I know what it's going to be. It's kind of the monster of the week, good versus bad yokai sort of thing. Kind of Scooby-Doo-esque. It's very much kids-oriented, even though, again, there's a little more adult topics at times. But it is decent. It is a fair show. It's just the fact that I've seen it, and Jeff didn't really care to watch it, so it's kind of an easy drop, or at least put on hold for us, because I know what it's going to be. I can come back to it at any point. I'm not missing anything.
Mm-hmm.
As for you watching it, you can give it a try. It's very pleasant. It's very, it's very pleasant. It's about the fact that there's good yokai and bad yokai. The good yokai are trying to fight off the bad yokai so that they can't hurt humans. And then obviously humans are usually dicks because they're ruining the environment and stuff like that, and covers those kinds of topics. And it's a decent show for kids. I think it's worthwhile. We just dropped it for the reasons I mentioned.
Scooby-Doo meets Captain Planet.
Kind of, yeah, kind of. In a way. Let's see what else we got here.
I think alphabetically, Mahou Shoujo site would be nice.
That's like the ultimate edgelord of the season. It was just garbage. It's like wanting to do what Madoka Magica did, but then take it up to like 11, which is already, you thought that was kind of where the max should be. And it's just like, oh my god, there's murder, rape, violence, domestic abuse, like you name it, it's in it. Like in the first few episodes, like it's dark as all hell. The story sucks. I watched more episodes than Jeff did. Too many plot devices that I wasn't okay with. It was just garbo. Hot garbo. It
definitely felt like, hey, Madoka Magica did really well by taking the magical girl genre and kind of turning it on its head a little bit. how about we do that, but instead of having anything
Make
of
it more
substance,
horrific, yeah.
let's just make it that our main character, we kind of just want her to murder everybody that exists around her, because everybody is terrible.
Yeah. Which, I mean, they are terrible people, but Jesus, Murphy, it's dark.
No, like, why would I want to watch something about everybody being terrible to this poor girl,
Yeah.
and then she becomes a magical girl, and then I guess can exact her revenge on them?
Want to talk about a way to easily turn me off from something, and I mean this in like real life shows as in anime. The second I see a box cutter, you have basically signed a ticket saying I won't watch it.
Yeah.
The ones I have sat through, I regretted it.
You know what? Dark Knight made it good without having to get like all gross about it or anything like that. You know, like there's ways to use that.
That's the thing. There's a difference between Golden Kamui and this. It's using gore in the right instance to kind of have character development, to insinuate the environment that they're in, the type of era they're in, the kind of mentality these people have. Where this is just like, just murder everyone because everyone's terrible.
In Golden Kamui, it's a reflection of the fact that all these people have been in war. They've had to kill other people.
Yeah.
They've seen people exploded, disemboweled, and that does things to you.
Yeah.
It messes with your mind.
It's not so much faux pas anymore.
Yeah, where like some characters want this to just be the norm forever because this is the only way they feel comfortable anymore.
Yeah.
Whereas no, Mahou Shoujo site was just like, let's see how many horrific, horrible things we can have happen to this girl, so then you feel comfortable when she gets her magic powers and can use it to whatever she wants to do with it.
It's just terrible. Like, just skip it. Hard skip it. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. It was bad. Nothing redeemable as far as I can see. And the next one that I riffed on hard, and Jeff also joined me in that. Piano no Mori. Really, if you want to watch a show about pianos or about music or about anything related
There's
to
lots
that,
of other ones that you can
Your
watch.
Lie in April. I'll always point you in that direction. It's fantastic. It's emotional. It's great. There's so many things working for it. The music's fantastic.
And there's a lot of other ones too. There's
no CG.
Yeah, there's like some euphonium one that people speak really highly of. Yeah, where the main character plays a euphonium and is part of like, you know, the band in her high school or something like that. And people speak highly about that as well. So like, there is no shortage of anime that has to do with music.
No.
And I gave this the college try. I think I was the one that pushed you a little bit more.
You drugged me along.
And I was like,
no.
I like the idea behind it. I like the idea of this, you know, character who, and you know what? Depending on what I hear about it, I might power through all the bad CG and like not knowing how to animate somebody playing the piano.
It literally shows to me that when they can't play, like, literally draw somebody playing a piano, it says to me that they aren't passionate about music, especially not pianos. Because when you watch Your Lie in April, you see it effortlessly.
Yeah.
Beautifully, like, captivatingly. Like, you cannot stop looking at it for how accurate it is. Whereas this, it's just like, the instant anything remotely happens with action on a keyboard, they instantly go to CG, and I'm like, come on, it's not hard to draw this. You know exactly where they need to press, do that. And it looks so cheap, and it looks so gross. And it's not always in CG. It's basically every time he touches the bloody piano.
But, like, the premise is interesting. And I like the relationships that
But again, they ripped off a lot of, like, Your Lie in April, Yuri on Ice. Like, they just took things that worked and were like, yeah, sure, that should work, too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that it's invented. I'm not saying that it's wholly like, unique, except for the bad CG.
Like, when you take something from other anime, you make it better. You don't just say, well, I'm okay with that. You know what I mean?
Like I said,
it's not
it's a very sparse anime season, so maybe I'll, like, watch an episode or two and see if it gets better.
I have other things I know will be better. Trust me, I have, like, 60 things.
I'm sorry that I want to see Naruto and
he thinks the main character looks like Naruto, which
no,
he's not.
It's not about looks.
Oh, and the
Sounds.
voice. Yeah.
The voice is definitely trying to do Naruto and then Shoran from Card Captors.
Oh yeah.
So I want to see those two become best friends, and play the piano against one another and with each other, and just enjoy the music.
And then there's me, the old person in the back, like boo.
I wanted it
Watch
to
Your
be
Lie in
good.
April. Watch Your Lie in April. I don't care what
I've
happens.
already watched that.
watch it again. Like, Piano no Mori, it's just like, why bother? I don't even care how they end it. They could have somebody like the most magnificent ending. I'm like, the lead up to it was crap. You can't just have a good ending. Like, I don't know how it's going to end. I don't know anything about it really, other than what I watched, and that was crap. Like, there are some interesting ideas, but then it's like, lean into it. Try, like, some of the animation, just when they drew it, I was like, come the hell on. Like, you're not even trying sometimes. Like, what the hell's up with his face? Like, seriously. And it's not like, oh, it's just his face. It's the fact they fucked it up.
You got a messed up face.
Oh, it's just, oh. There's so many other things I can put my time towards, and I can guarantee you I will.
Yeah, I've got other stuff that I need to watch, too. I'm like 6 episodes into Fruits Basket as part of our exchange, I guess.
Mm-hmm. He still owes me, in the background, he owes me Be the Beginning as well now, too, so don't let him live it down.
Let him live it down.
My leverage.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, Lord. So the next one, I think we've made our point clear about Piano no Mori. Shiyan Pin Jiating. Sorry if I said that wrong. I believe it's a Chinese name.
Yeah. Another interesting premise, but boy, they did nothing with it.
Yep. Long story short, a bunch of siblings who were normal people, and then all but one were tested on and then mutated to something else like telekinesis, arachnid sort of body, dog, you name it. And there are these really neat ideas in the beginning about, fitting in and being different and all these like neat things, and then it just kind of pissed it away, and it's just kind of almost, I don't want to say boring, but it just kind of seemed mundane. So I don't feel like it's worth your time. Like, I was really, really like cheering for it initially because I was like, it has the base, it can go.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't. And Jeff obviously didn't watch past the first episode, so he'll take my word for it.
Yeah, that's, what, as much as you rib me sometimes of like, how come you've taken so long to watch this and that, everything that you
Because,
watch.
like, sometimes I'm just like, I'll just power through, I will watch it.
And I am of the opposite mind, that when Sugar tells me with everything in her being, she's like, I really want you to watch this, I have to be in a frame of mind to really take it in, because I want to take it seriously. I don't want to just have
to me,
noise in the background.
It sounds very much like a couple's argument. He's never in the mood to watch it, so it takes months for him to actually get to either finishing it or getting to it. So it's distressing for me because it just feels like he doesn't care. But I know he does. He's just at a polar bear's pace.
I am definitely polar bear.
Yes, Jeff is...
I'm getting through Fruits Basket.
Episode 5.
6. I've done 6.
Oh, good. You've gone through 6.
Mm-hmm.
One for every 3 days that I think. If
around there, yeah.
Oh my god.
Well, you gotta think about all the other anime we're watching and the fact that we're
back to
playing
that.
video games as opposed to watching anime sometimes.
Weird.
Yeah. And, I'm working and stuff like that.
Oh, yep. Yep.
There aren't enough hours in the day.
Oh, yep.
And we also have friends who are like, you better watch Young Justice or else they'll
And you
hate
haven't
us
watched
forever.
it, so you can't even use that as a...
I'm just saying is that I've got a million things
What
that
I'm saying
supposed
is
to
I have
watch.
all these things that I can use as defense mechanisms so I don't have to watch it.
Is that true?
Next one, Tada-kun. A lot of people liked it. I'm not 100% sure why.
A lot of people seem to get joy out of this.
No, I just mean like...
I think they're wrong.
No. I just mean like a lot of people really seem to like it. And like the first episode I thought was kind of funny. And then after that I was like, this is kind of boring. And no one else felt that way that I've seen so far. And I'm like, okay. So I dumped it after a couple episodes. But I was just like, this is really boring to me.
And there's nothing about it that's unique. There isn't a premise about it that's, like, oh, wow. And that's the thing with, when it comes to me, anyways, when you get slice of life, there has to be, like, a hook to it. Something that really brings me in. And I mean, that's not, I guess, always true 100% anymore. Well, no, but I mean...
Miss Kobayashi nailed it.
Hey, Miss Kobayashi is awesome.
Yes,
and it
okay.
is just a slice of life with insanity. But, and dragons. But, like, Wotaku is, I guess, in a lot of ways just a slice of life. But it's an excellent slice of life and a viewpoint that I haven't seen yet.
Killer comedy.
I guess technically speaking, like Fruits Basket, it's a slice of life kind of rom-com, but there's an element to it that is unique and interesting, and it's like a story being told. I don't need to be told the same story 100 times. I don't need to be told about, oh wow.
But Fruits Basket isn't the same as all the other SOLs either.
SOLs?
Slice of life, not shit out of life.
No, exactly. And that's what I said. Like, there's a unique aspect to it. Tada-kun has nothing unique about it. We've had movies about, like, oh, tee, I'm actually a princess since, like, the 1940s. It isn't unique. There isn't a premise about it or a character in it that I saw that I was like, oh, wow, like, I haven't seen that thing
really
before.
Original, yeah.
No.
I just think of the Family Guy thing where it's like, tee, I'm a princess. I'm going to punch you in the throat.
Yes. So that's my thing with Tada-kun. I'm just like, I don't know, nothing about you at all was interesting or unique or anything.
Maybe I'm just getting old and I'm like, oh.
I mean, it could do what it does fine. I don't care about seeing what it does done fine.
Yeah.
I've already seen it done in a movie really, really well.
Yeah. What's a good example? Like, you can, like, something like, okay, Eurocamp, which was great on its own, but when you get something like Nichijou, where it's just insanity after insanity, most people would go to Nichijou because it's just craziness, and it's something you don't often see, where it's very much like, in a sense, like that British humor of just random, like, suplexing a deer. Like, it's just, right, we haven't watched it yet. I've seen a couple, like, episodes and snippets, but I haven't, like, sat down and watched it. Another one that's on my list. But it's one of those things where it's just like something that's very plain or something that's kind of up there for things you don't see. I've seen suplexing trains. That's not an anime, though. But anyways.
Everybody knows where you suplex a train. Suplex City, bitch!
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, but it just... Tada-kun did not hook me. You gotta hook me at some point. There's no hook.
So I think that wraps up our drop list.
Mm-hmm. But as people probably who are listening have noticed, there's definitely one thing that we haven't watched that lots of people were like, that's one of the best anime of the season. We're gonna get to it. And that's Megalo Box.
Yeah, we hope to get to it. I plan to.
No, we will.
I've heard nothing but good things about it, and I've always planned to. It's kind of one of the reasons I didn't lean into it heavily of pushing myself to watch it this season, because I felt like everybody kind of got out there and said it's good. So I was like, there's no point me going hard on it when you kind of got the message. So, yeah.
So that's on our list of, you know what, this summer where it looks very barren. Yeah.
What else do we plan to watch?
Well, we've got Hoozuki's Cool-Headedness.
The second season.
The second core of the second season. I'm not sure if you watched much of the second, like the first core of the second season.
Not much, no.
So, I know you really, really loved it.
It's just because I know it'll be there waiting for me. I don't have to worry. That's why I started watching some of the other stuff I've been meaning to get to, because I know it's there. It's the same with Saiki K. Yeah, I know it'll be as good as the first one. I'm just waiting. Biding my time. I saw it was on Netflix this morning, and I was like, yeah. And then I noticed it's only Japanese. I was like, I like the dub. I was like, I can read the sub as well, but I like the dub.
Yeah, and so those are like the big three that we plan to watch throughout the summer, because I mean, maybe we'll do a summer preview, but there ain't much to preview for the summer. This is the first time since your channel has been live where it's like, I don't know if there's anything beyond the ongoing stuff, because I mean, we still got Steins Gate, we still have My Hero Academia, So like there are still good things going.
Oh yeah, Jeff didn't mention. He took it off the list. I'm not sure why he did that. It's there.
What's that?
Sugar Bum. Aggressive Retsuko. I watched it. He hasn't yet. So.
Oh well, yeah, it's there because you completed it. We just forgot to mention it. Completion.
So completed Aggressive Retsuko. It was good. Better than actually the online one.
Agretsuko? Was that what it was called before?
No, now it's called Agretsuko. Before it's Aggressive Retsuko.
Okay.
So the one before was alright. But I feel like this one kind of made it a nice knitted line through of a story and kind of had some of our characters more binded or bound to one another, which is really nice. So give it a shot. It's basically about a red panda who, instead of getting really angry, does karaoke, but in like heavy metal.
Yeah, like death metal type stuff.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah, anybody who's had to work that stupid job with a bunch of stupid people who don't know what they're doing, and you end up having to do more work or it's whatever. Like,
yeah.
If you've ever worked in that sort of a setting before, you'll 100% get it.
Yep.
For sure.
So I guess I'm sure you can guess way, our top 5, which I believe...
Ours might differ slightly. I don't know. Even just talking about anime, I've maybe switched things around as opposed to... I have a list, but I'm like...
Yeah, he has a list. I'm looking at it right now, and I'm like, because mine would be, my top 5 would be Steins Gate, My Hero Academia.
I have those as like a 1A and 1B, because I don't, please don't make me choose between my children.
Then Wotaku.
Yeah.
And then...
After that, it gets muddy. I was like, I have like a 4, 5, 6, 7.
Probably my 4 would be...
Galactic Heroes? Or is it Seven Deadly Sins?
Probably The Legend of the Galactic Heroes.
Okay.
Then Seven Deadly Sins. I was just tied with Golden Kamui. So that's my top 5-ish.
It's tough, because when I did that, I was like, well, I have my top 3 immediately. And then after that, it gets a little muddy.
Whereas Jeff's top 5 is Steins Gate Zero, My Hero Academia, Wotaku, Seven Deadly Sins, Hisane Tamasatan, and honorable mention is Legend of the Galactic Heroes.
And Golden Kamui.
And now you better Golden Kamui.
It's so hard.
That's fine. I just making sure I read it.
Because like all of them feel like there was a lot of 8 out of 10 anime for me this year, this season, where it was like that was really good, but it doesn't hit that upper echelon. So 2 10s potentially, depending on how they continue on, are the top 2, which is My Hero Academia and Steins Gate. And then Wotaku is like a 9 to me based on like its genre and it being basically perfect for its genre. After that are a bunch of 8s. After that, like Galactic Heroes, I have at an 8. Golden Kamui, I have at an 8. Hisane Masatan, I have at an 8. Seven Deadly Sins, I have at an 8. Like,
so that's
really hard.
I guess if we were, let's pretend for a second, just an award show for this season.
Yeah.
Our best opener, I would say, I think we both agree, would likely be Wotaku.
Wotaku, yes.
And then
it's super catchy.
The next one would likely be, because I sing it all the time and drive Jeff nuts with it, is Golden Kamui, because
because I hate...
no, you don't hate it. I just mean, like, I play it all the time, and now I've, like, smashed it into your brain.
That's fine.
I love everything with Man with a Mission.
There's a lot of good openers. Like, Hisane Tamasotan's opener is really good. Oddly enough, I don't think My Hero Academia's is very good. But, like, Steins Gate Zero has that epic quality to it that I appreciate. So it's like, there's a lot of good openers this season.
Excuse me.
No.
My hiccup. Oh.
So, and even, like, something like Legend of the Galactic Heroes has an
that's a song that sounds just like another song.
Yeah, that's true.
Nothing's gonna stop us.
Maybe that's part of the reason we love it, but... There's a lot of good openers. I don't know what the opener is like for a Retsuko, but I would assume it's got to be kind of neat.
No.
No? All right, then. Yeah, so, like, best opener, there's a lot of good openers, but best ending. There's I don't think there's competition.
Yeah.
It's Hisone de Masatan.
Yeah. It's very like 60s, 70s, like club and disco sort of thing. It's very like chill. Yet in the sense the lyrics are in French, which is another twist to it. So it's fun.
And like different characters will sing the ending.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, cool. And I like the animations that they have, and just, oh, it's so nice. You could probably tell our most disappointing 100% clear card hand.
Oh, if I could go back in time, I'm not gonna finish that sentence.
I'd burn him alive. No, it's.
I just wish it hadn't been made if this was going to be the result. Let's put it that way.
That's fair. Most surprising, definitely Hisone de Masatan. There's no reason why something that absurd should be that good.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else, if you would have looked at our list, is like, well, yeah, I mean, that should be good.
Mm-hmm.
But Hisone de Masatan, every time I explain it to somebody, they're like, okay, wait, what?
Yeah.
And this is really good. I was like, yeah, I really liked it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, because we have to, we're CGI, because there's been some bad CGI.
Piano, no more.
Piano, no more.
No doubt.
Why are their fingers sausages?
Oh, it's so bad.
Why do you hurt me so?
Ugh. It's the best way to do it. Ugh.
So instead of thinking about, think about, yay, Steins Gate Zero and My Hero Academia.
Say what it's for.
What?
You just said two random animes. Say what the topic was.
What? Oh, just instead of thinking about disappointing anime and like bad CGI.
So what he's saying is the best of the season.
Think of the best of the season. Which, there are two front runners and then everything else. It's Steins Gate Zero and My Hero Academia.
Yeah.
And then everything else.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's probably it for the year as well. I can't think of anything.
It for the year?
No, like, so far. I can't think of anything.
I thought you meant like for the foreseeable future. I was like, that's a huge assumption.
I can't think of anything winter 2018 that comes close to those currently. And we do get Overlord this season, so that could creep
this upcoming season, oh my god, it looks so terrible, and I don't like saying that because it's not usually true.
Yeah, I guess we're getting Overlord.
We get Attack on Titan, which I will riff on. We get
Steins Gate Zero and My Hero Academia continuing on, so that's good. We get Attack on Titan Season 3, which will be good for you in the sense that you get to pick it apart because it deserves it.
It'll be something. Everyone will get pissed at me again, and I'll just say it like it is, which is my deal.
Yeah, it's a little nitpicky.
I won't lie to you. I'll tell you it's crap. I can predict the future. No, it's kidding. But I'm pretty sure it'll be crap.
If it does what it has done, if it continues to do what has made it successful, Sugar will not appreciate it as much as lots of other people do.
Let's say if they continue doing what they've been doing, I'll be busy.
It'll be a busy summer for that.
Oh my god.
I actually look forward to it. I can't lie.
Do you look forward to it or me ripping it apart?
No, that. You ripping it apart. I look forward to that.
It's so funny because I remember when I was doing especially the second season, Jeff would just look over and I was like, oh my god, this is going to take forever. So I was just like every few minutes, I'm like, why? Why does this have to be?
Sugar sits there and watches with a pen and paper. And it's
I
just
do.
Like,
I literally
puts
do.
Puts a timestamp and it's like, why? What? This makes no.
I just love that, like, sometimes I will forget. I shouldn't say that. I will remember what happens, but later on it looks like I forget because Jeff will look at my timestamps and it's just huge question marks. I'm like, I know exactly what happened there.
I know what happened, but it makes no sense.
Yeah, I'm just like, I don't know. I don't. And that's what this season's likely going to be, is me being... The first episode will be just like the last season. It'll have like everyone be like, "Oh my god, that was good." Then the rest will be crap, and then the ending will be like, "That was good," which means it was all good.
Hey, I mean, Hunter x Hunter gets the benefit of the
don't
doubt
even
because...
compare it to Hunter x Hunter.
No, I'm just saying is that if you go out on a high note, you get some
I
benefits
talked about
there.
that the last... When I, like, heavily critiqued the second season fully in a video.
Yeah.
I explained that's the whole, like...
That's their way.
Gimmick of, like, them succeeding a lot of the time. It's just like, oh, they'll remember the beginning and the end. Especially a lot of you binge it, so that works. And it's just like, son of a bitch.
But we'll still have good stuff to wash it all down with, so it'll be fine.
Stuff from my plan to watch list.
Well, is it?
Stuff I still have to finish.
My Hero Academia, and Steins Gate Zero, and Overlord. So there's 3 really good ones right there.
Yeah, 3. 3 out of a season that's usually like 16 nowadays. Where it's like, those
Enjoy
are...
the summer. Enjoy the summer, because fall will come and then you'll be sad again.
I find it so funny though lately, like totally off topic. I'll be like, oh, this isn't ecchi, I'll watch it. Just turns out to be full-blown porn.
Yeah.
Why are the tags saying it's ecchi?
Maybe in Japan that's what ecchi
No,
is.
it is not. It's full-blown porn. So if you see that on my page of me watching porn, it's not because I intended to.
Not always, anyway.
But, yeah, even one of my guy friends was like, so they're seeing this? I said, yes, there will be questions.
I would love for you to do in-depth critiques and analysis of these ecchi. And the critique is nothing except for, what makes this ecchi and not porn? This is porn.
I'm not even going to get into that.
I would love for you to do that.
Oh my god.
That would be
I
fun.
should just have like a comic riff of like...
I mean, it won't be monetized,
Nope.
but it
Never.
would still be funny.
It would be. Anywho, that's our show. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for joining me, Jeff.
Of course, always.
And if there's anything you want to see, hear, well, listen to me, critique, analyze, you let me know. I'd love to hear what you want me to talk about. That's going on a sentence where I wasn't sure. Wow, I must
Tell
be
me
tired.
why Attack on Titan is good.
Yeah, it ended. No, Attack on Titan has some redeeming qualities. But overall, if you think about it, it's crap.
Watch some of her earlier videos about that.
Oh, man. Yeah, I had no reservations initially. I mean, ever, really. If you know me all that well, you know that I don't hold my punches.
No.
So, something to learn about me.
Something to look forward to this summer will
Yeah,
be
if you want-
evisceration. Unless, hey, sugar is not nothing if not fair. So if it turns out that in
Oh,
her
yeah,
eyes
if
it
it's
turned
good.
a corner, then great.
If it's good, I'll have nothing to talk about. I'll be glad and I'll point that out. I'll happily say that there was nothing wrong with it. But I don't think that'll happen.
I am the optimist after
Yeah,
all.
Jeff's the optimist, I'm the realist. Or he calls the pessimist. Anywho, once again, thank you so much for checking in with us, listening to us for so long. And we'll see you next time. Bye.